SettingAScene.org brings you The Grammys Leave CBS for Disney, the money, media power, and politics behind music's biggest move. Welcome to this explainer. We're going to unpack what is, honestly, a modern corporate fairy tale. It's a fascinating story about one of the absolute biggest media shifts in music history. We're talking about a giant institution packing up its golden gramophones and moving to a completely new castle. We'll look at exactly how and why this happened, and most importantly, what this massive industry shakeup actually means for independent creators today.
Okay, let's just dive right into it. First up, the end of an era. Then, in the Battle of Kingdoms, we'll look at the corporate realities behind the move. Next, for the dragon and the treasure, we'll uncover the real modern-day gold, which is data and cultural control. And finally, the moral of the story, what this all means for indie artists.
All right, Chapter 1. The end of an era. A 50-year alliance comes to a close.
For over half a century, the Grammy Awards and CBS seemed, well, permanently attached. This partnership started way back in 1973. Think about that. They survived disco, MTV, CDs, Napster, iTunes, Spotify, and even the 15-second video trends on TikTok. But the final ceremony under this classic arrangement is going to broadcast in 2026. Because starting in 2027, the golden gramophone is officially packing its bags. The Disney era begins, taking the awards to ABC, Hulu, and Disney+. And they are locked in for a full 10 years, running all the way through 2036. Fun fact, that 2027 broadcast will actually be the first Grammy ceremony shown on ABC since 1972.
Moving right along to Chapter 2, the Battle of Kingdoms, let's look at why the castle changed hands.
So why the big move? Basically, this transition is a massive clash of corporate empires. A major music organization is fundamentally changing its distribution, its streaming partner, and a huge part of its public identity due to some very stark economic realities. And the simplest reason? Disney brought the money. According to the Wall Street Journal, Disney agreed to pay more than $500 million across this 10-year agreement. That is a staggering number. But they aren't just buying the rights to show a 3-hour award show once a year. No. This massive offer secures a global, live event fortress. The Recording Academy is going to produce multiple Grammy-branded specials and additional programs for Disney's platforms all over the world. Disney is literally building a machine here.
Now, contrast all that Disney wealth with this number, $28 billion. While Disney was putting together its massive $500 million offer, CBS was living through a corporate earthquake. Paramount Global, which is CBS's parent company, announced a proposed merger with Skydance Media, valuing the combined business at around $28 billion. And right in the middle of that, Paramount was aggressively cutting costs, laying off roughly 15% of its U.S. workforce just to save $500 million annually. CBS was dealing with intense financial pressure, reorganizations, streamlining, the whole shebang. So long story short, the old castle simply couldn't afford to keep the Grammys anymore. They just had to make some really hard spreadsheet decisions.
And the strategic divide between these two kingdoms is pretty stark. On one side, we have the old castle, CBS, which relies heavily on a traditional broadcast model. And sure, the ratings were still strong for modern television, pulling 17 million viewers in 2024, but they saw a decline down to 14.4 million by 2026. A drop like that definitely makes a network think twice before paying out massive rights fees. But on the other side, look at the new empire. Disney isn't just relying on a broadcast channel. They're offering a totally interconnected ecosystem. The exact same content that might be way too expensive for a single broadcast network is immensely valuable to Disney because they can spread it across ABC, stream it on Hulu, throw family-friendly programming on Disney+, and just capture audience attention globally across so many different touchpoints.
Which brings us to Chapter 3, The Dragon and the Treasure. We're diving into AI, data, and real politics.
Now, let's strip away all that internet noise to reveal the actual modern treasures at the heart of this deal. A big question floating around. Was this a partisan political move? The answer is a flat no. There is absolutely zero verified public evidence that the Recording Academy left CBS because it was too conservative, too liberal, or hostile toward any political party. Keep in mind, this deal was announced in October 2024, meaning it was negotiated well before a lot of the later political controversies that flooded the internet. So for sure, partisan politics did not drive this deal. However, media ownership itself is deeply political in a much broader sense. It dictates whose voices get amplified, which communities get representation, and ultimately who controls the data. The real politics here are about ownership and corporate power. You see, the Recording Academy is also a massive lobbying organization fighting for creator rights against modern dragons like artificial intelligence, including unauthorized AI voice clones and digital replicas. By partnering up with Disney's massive global reach across ABC, Hulu, and Disney+, the Academy basically secures the biggest possible microphone to advocate for those vital creator protections.
I absolutely love this quote from makingascene.org. The artist provides the culture. The platform often keeps the map of the people who showed up. Wow, that is profound. Think about it. A musician can perform on television in front of millions of people, but they leave without permission to contact a single one of them. The network knows exactly who watched. The streaming company knows who clicked. The platform keeps the map. Capturing attention really means very little for your long-term career if you're just performing inside a platform's cage rather than owning the map to your own fans.
Let's think about this concept of an ecosystem for a second. An interconnected network of platforms creates enormous value, sure, but it can quickly become a comfortable cage when someone else owns every single door. Disney's ecosystem is masterful at this. They leverage these shared live moments, which, let's face it, are extremely scarce in modern media, to gather incredibly rich digital business data. They track what you watch before the ceremony, what device you're using, and what you click on next. This kind of digital distribution creates a much, much richer business picture than a single traditional television rating ever could.
Finally, Chapter 4, the moral of the story: own your brand. We've talked a ton about massive corporate strategy, $500 million deals, and media empires, but right now, it's time to pivot this directly to you, the indie artist. The absolute biggest takeaway from this explainer, drawing straight from makingascene.org, is that the Grammys could move to Disney for one very specific reason. CBS did not own the Grammys. The Recording Academy did. Because they own the central asset, it was portable. They could take it anywhere. You have to do the same. Own your master recordings whenever possible. Understand your publishing inside and out. Keep your metadata perfectly clean. Collect fan email addresses with clear consent so you own the map. Maintain your own professional website that can survive any random social media algorithm changes. And intelligently explore Web3 tools, not for the hype, but for true digital portability.
I want to leave you with a provocative thought. The Grammys proved they could move because they owned their brand. Can you say the exact same thing about your audience? If your favorite social media platform just completely shut down tomorrow, could you still reach your fans? It's something every single creator needs to seriously evaluate. Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.